If you've ever wondered what all those ship classes mean on Royal Caribbean, you're in the right place because today we're taking a deep dive into all the Royal Caribbean ship classes, from the Colossal Icon class to the Cozy Vision class, plus a sneak peek at a rumored new class on the horizon up next. Hey everyone, it's Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. Before we jump in, what exactly is a ship class? Royal Caribbean groups its cruise ships into classes based on common design, size, and onboard features. Think of it like models of cars, or groups of cars rather. You have sedans, you have pickup trucks, you have convertibles, right? And even within the cars themselves, car companies, you have different models, and that's kind of what cruise ships are kind of like. They help you understand what to expect from the enormous floating cities to the more intimate ocean explorers. All right, let's begin with the biggest and boldest and newest class ship within Royal Caribbean, the Icon class. This is Royal Caribbean's newest generation of mega ships, designed from the ground up with unmatched scale and innovation. The first ship, Icon of the Seas, entered service in January of 2024, and there's also Star of the Seas, which entered service in 2025, and we'll have Legend of the Seas coming in 2026. There are three of them, but there's even more on the horizon. Royal Caribbean has confirmed that it'll be building at least a few more, and maybe even more beyond that. Really, when you talk about the Icon class, you're talking about massive ships that can hold up to 10,000 people when you combine all the possible passengers on board, plus the crew members. And really, the Icon class is known for some of the unique features on board, notably the neighborhoods like the Aquadome, Thrill Island, Central Park, and more. There are tons of pools, an entire water park, great shows on board, amazing restaurants, and of course, family-friendly zones. In fact, the Surfside neighborhood alone is one of the distinguishing features of the Icon class because it leans so heavily into young families. Really, the Icon class represents the pinnacle of Royal Caribbean scale and creativity. It's perfect for families and adventure seekers who want it all. It's really Royal Caribbean's latest and greatest. But before the Icon class, Oasis class was the ultimate, and it's still incredible. Here's what set the Oasis class apart. It's built around 7 and 8 on some ships, distinct neighborhoods including Central Park, Boardwalk, and more. There are tons of thrills like the zip lines, ice skating, aqua theaters, and Broadway style and Broadway shows, and they also have huge capacity and very broad appeal. There are a number of ships, 6 in fact right now: Oasis of the Seas, Allure of the Seas, Harmony of the Seas, Symphony of the Seas, Wonder of the Seas, and Utopia of the Seas, plus a 7th unnamed ship that's coming out in a couple of years. While the Oasis class ships might not be the biggest in the world anymore, they are still giant ships. They can handle about 5,500 passengers each and have a gross tonnage of over 225,000 tons. Just like the Icon class, Oasis class ships are mega ships that offer plenty to do. In fact, not even plenty, more than you can do in even a week on board. One of the key differences between the Icon and the Oasis class is that the Oasis class ships are starting to offer shorter cruises, while Icon ships are still doing 7-night sailings. Don't get me wrong, you can still find a couple of Oasis class ships doing longer sailings, but they've started shifting over to the short cruise market as a way to attract new cruisers. And that means way more than you can possibly do, which is not a bad thing. Some variety is a very good thing to have on a cruise ship, but to offer some of the best features on board. Both classes of ship offer some amazing features. You'll have plenty to do, from hanging out in the pool, checking out a place like Central Park, dining, shopping, going ice skating, outdoor movie theaters, and more. Next up, we have the Quantum class ships, which were designed really with a blend of high-tech and family vacation fun. These were stylish ships that kind of deviated from what Royal Caribbean had built from that point forward. Quantum class ships have some signature features that you'll only find on these ships, and they're really a big hit with families. Quantum class ships are also really well adjusted for all kinds of weather, primarily even cold weather, because so much more of it is enclosed than traditional Royal Caribbean ships. Really, Quantum class ships are the sort of cruise ship that has something for everybody to enjoy, whether you're new to cruising or an established veteran. Now, there are kind of a subset of ships within this class called the Quantum Ultra class. It's more marketing than anything else, but ships like Spectrum and Odyssey of the Seas are technically part of that. All it really means is they have just some newer features on board and some changes to the main dining room. There are a total of 5 Quantum class ships: Quantum of the Seas, Anthem of the Seas, Ovation of the Seas, Spectrum of the Seas, and Odyssey of the Seas. And really, you'd want to choose a Quantum class ship if you're looking for lots to do on board, along with some incredible features and maybe some more varied itineraries. You'll find a lot of Quantum class ships over in Asia, Australia, Alaska, and even in Europe sometimes. I think there are two features, though, that really make these class of ships stand out. They have the North Star Observational Pod, which you board and then actually brings you up in the air a couple hundred feet above the sea level. It's amazing. And then you have Ripcord by iFly, which is a skydiving simulator. Again, both of these features are only available on the Quantum class. Coming up next are the Freedom class ships, the big ship workhorses that help redefine modern cruising. Now, these are slightly smaller than the Oasis class and even the Quantum class, but they're still big ships. There are a ton of activities on board. You'll have aquaparks, rock walls, ice skating, and even the Royal Promenade. There are 3 ships in this class: Freedom of the Seas, Liberty of the Seas, and Independence of the Seas. I think the Freedom class is a really great choice if you want lots of activities in space without paying more for a bigger ship. In fact, I think the Freedom class might be the best value in cruising right now when you combine what it offers on board for the price you pay for it. These are big ships, even though they may not hold the title anymore, and they're way down the list compared to Oasis class, Icon, and Quantum class ships, but they still have a big ship feel to them, and for that reason, I think it's a really great option for folks who are looking to maybe get a budget Royal Caribbean cruise in here. It's a big deal. They still have a Royal Promenade, and of course, plenty to do on the top sports decks, which make them stand out. Moving on to the Voyager class, this is where many signature Royal Caribbean experiences got their start. The Voyager class introduced so many things that we take for granted today, including the Royal Promenade, mini golf, rock climbing wall, and even Flowrider surf simulators on later updates that came to the ships. Voyager class ships include Voyager of the Seas, Explorer of the Seas, Adventure of the Seas, Mariner of the Seas, and Navigator of the Seas. Just like the Freedom class, the Voyager class ships are a terrific value and also offer some more varied itineraries. Royal Caribbean hasn't been done with these ships. They've invested some money over the past few years with some upgrades like new restaurants, surf simulators, new aquaparks, entertainment, and more, and it really does make a difference. I think the best reason to choose a Voyager class ship is the value, certainly. Also, plenty of things to do on board. I think for anybody who's looking for a Royal Caribbean ship on a budget, just like the Freedom class, this is really that sweet spot here. Plus, it's a step up from the next 2 classes we're going to be talking about, which are definitely a smaller feel. Voyager class ships and Freedom class ships are essentially the same structure, but Freedom class is a little bit longer. That's the primary difference. Next up is the Radiance class. Now, these aren't the biggest ships in the world, but they're absolutely beautiful. You're going to find huge amounts of glass or panoramic ocean views throughout the ship, glass elevators and open public spaces, and they're designed to access smaller ports that larger ships simply cannot reach. The ships in the class include the Radiance of the Seas, Brilliance of the Seas, Serenade of the Seas, and Jewel of the Seas. When you talk about the Radiance class, you're talking about a classic cruise experience. There's not over-the-top features on board these ships like water slides or zip lines or a boardwalk or anything like that, but they do make up for it in an absolutely stunning cruise ship design that really makes you feel more connected to the places you're visiting, from the views you can have all around the ship, whether it's out to the ocean or the ports in between. Last but not least, we have the Vision class, and these are the smallest, oldest cruise ships in Royal Caribbean's fleet. They're compact, capable, and definitely versatile. Really, when you're talking about going on a Vision class ship, you're talking about a smaller size that will get you to more unique ports around the world, classic cruise experience, modern updates, and these include ships like Grandeur of the Seas, Rhapsody of the Seas, Enchantment of the Seas, and Vision of the Seas. In fact, the Vision class is the only class that actually had some of its ships already sold off to other cruise lines. I think the Vision class is certainly perfect for cruisers who want varied itineraries and a more intimate vibe on board. Plus, you're probably not going to be paying a lot of money for these particular ships. They're often some of the cheapest sailings out there, and they cruise from places like, say, Tampa, Florida, or even Baltimore, Maryland, and these are ports that can't accommodate bigger ships. One thing, though, you should know about the ship classes is they're not all carbon copies of each other. Royal Caribbean, to their credit, tries to distinguish ships between each other, and with various updates, and even when the ship debuts, certain features, certain places are different from others within the class. You'll see this a lot, especially in some of the ships that have been around, in which they've had one ship get one series of updates, and another ship get completely different updates. So the good news is there is value in trying them all and not just saying, okay, I've been on one Freedom class, I've done all the Freedom class. But on the other hand, it could be very different experience if you have done one ship and then come on one of the others within the class and realize certain features are not there or other features are there that you didn't expect. I think it's great that there are variations between the ships, but at the same time, you cannot assume that one ship has all the features of the other within the same class. Now for something on the horizon, the Discovery class. And this is still rumored. Royal Caribbean has not confirmed anything yet, but really we know it's forthcoming because there's been a lot of chatter online from people within Royal Caribbean, including its CEO, who've talked about it. What we can expect so far officially is a smaller, and I'm using air quotes, ship size compared to what's out there. Basically, it will be smaller than the Icon class, and that's essentially all we know. Royal Caribbean has confirmed it will be smaller than the Icon class, but I don't think it'll be a small ship by any means. Personally, I think it'll come in right around 4,000 passengers or so. Royal Caribbean CEO Michael Bailey said in September of 2025 that the Discovery class is really about places it'll go. Quote, "We want the ships to be able to really focus on the more exotic itineraries," end quote. He added Discovery ships would come in and start replacing the older hardware that currently operates in many of those itineraries. Now, that's all he really said about it, and personally, I think that might be pointing to perhaps replacing, say, the Vision class ships operating in places like the Adriatic Sea, which is a very popular place to go, but Royal Caribbean can only put some of their smaller ships there. But putting a new ship there offers more in terms of what you can do on board, but also increases the price they can charge for it, and that, they think, is probably going to be a win-win. There's many more details to come. We simply don't know much of anything about it, but it will be a new ship class on the horizon. And of course, as soon as we have more information about it, we'll post it here on our YouTube channel. So which ship class should you take? Well, if you want everything that a cruise has to offer, certainly an Icon or an Oasis class is great for that. If you want classic, big ship fun, but less intense perhaps, Freedom or Voyager. If you prefer scenic views and quieter voyages, the Radiance or the Vision class. And if you're just looking for something brand spanking new, well, hopefully we'll have the Discovery class debuting sometime in the next, 5 or 10 years. Who knows? Let me know in the comments below, what is your recommendation for the best ship class out there? What makes one better than the other? And what do you like most about each ship class? I'm looking forward to reading your comments down below. While you're down below our video, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications. That way, YouTube lets you know of a brand new video to share. This has been Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, and we'll talk again real soon.